Welcome to the Smart Business Revolution podcast, where we feature top entrepreneurs, business leaders, and thought leaders and ask them how they built key relationships to get where they are today. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hey everyone, this is John Corcoran. I am the co-founder of Rise25, which is a B2B focused podcasting agency. And this is doing double duty. We got a live webinar here. This will also be a podcast episode, also put it up onto YouTube as well. And so I'm really excited about this, but we're going to be covering a lot of material. We're going to be talking about how to drive authority and trust to get more traffic and sales. And so we've got Bruno here who's going to be talking about that. But first, before we get into that, I will, I've been sharing a little quick tip at the beginning here, just something that I'm learning and something that I've implemented. So first, a couple of different things for those of you who are in the SEO in the age of AI WhatsApp group, which is the group that I started. It's got a lot of engagement, just past 500 members. So if you're in that group, our next presentation is going to be on February 25th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, how to get seen by ChatGPT and other LLMs with Jason Patel, is the CEO and founder of OpenForge AI, which is a tool that I've been playing around with in preparation for that event, and really cool software. And then also on March 11th at 12 p.m. PST, we have how to vibe code your next startup in a weekend with Replit, with Tyler Olson of Bionic Wave AI. And then on March 26th, we have how to get your team engaged with AI with Sam Klein. Sam really focuses on helping people that are just starting, unlike us who have been up to our eyeballs in AI, people who are just getting started with it and don't know where to get started. And so he's really helping with getting teams involved. So a couple of quick tips. So how to build landing pages 10 times faster. This really blows my mind because, not to date myself, but I remember coding web pages with HTML. I remember using Netscape. Was it Navigator? Not Navigator. Some one of the built-in free tools before WordPress to create web pages. And now you can vibe code landing pages, and it's absolutely bonkers. So this is what it's kind of the strategy I've been using is first go and research your keywords. So find some terms that people are already searching for that you want to show up in. So people are right now looking for you, your service, your company, by searching for different terms. A very simple, easy way to do that is just to go and Google Keyword Planner. There's also paid tools you can do as well, but this is a very easy one. And so you can do that. Find a couple terms that you really want to show up for, and then have someone interview you on that topic. So I just did this last week with a couple of clients, and it was a very niche search term that they wanted to show up for. And so we took that niche search term and they created 7 to 9 subtopics within it. And I just interviewed them about each of these topics. And these are things that they could talk about in their sleep very easily. And we used it for 2 purposes. One, it became a podcast episode. And then we could take those subtopics and we could divide them up and create individual landing pages for each of those subtopics. Then what you can do is you can take the recording of it. Fathom is a very easy tool to use. Take the transcript and then use that to actually vibe code the landing page. So you can feed that into your AI tool of choice, Gemini, Perplexity, whatever, and use that to design your landing page. And once you have a template in place, it gets a lot easier to do. So that's just a quick way to create, various different landing pages. So Bruno was really helpful and instrumental with guiding me in how to do that. Just to sum it up, number 1, research a keyword you want to get found for in ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity. Have someone interview you about that subject matter, which is the nice part about that. It's easy. You don't have to think, and you can just spout your expertise. Record it with Fathom, transcribe it, use a vibe coder. There's Replit, there's Lovable, there's Cursor, there's lots of them to build a landing page, and then put that up onto your website. And then also create blog posts with long tail keywords to link back to them. So whatever that term is that you want to search for, you can create longer blog posts on those topics. All right, so with that, let's go over to Bruno. So Bruno, what we're going to talk about today is how to drive authority and trust. So I'll confess that for me, for many years, I thought, I got a cool looking LinkedIn page. That's all I need, right? I thought okay, that's enough. That conveys authority and trust. They looked me up on LinkedIn. How wrong I was, because the machines, which is just this kind of like general term that we use for Google and now ChatGPT and Gemini, they have these bots. It's like a search party that's going out and crawling the web, and they're assessing. Or another way of thinking about it is like restaurant reviewers and like going down a restaurant row, and they're assessing all these different businesses, and they're looking at them up and down, and they're kind of evaluating them. Well, these machines, these bots are out there doing that on your website, and if you don't play their game, then you will not have trust. You will not have authority, and ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity will not take you seriously. They will go send their traffic. They will go send attention to other websites that play the game, that have the rules that they've defined. Bruno, hopefully that sets it up a little bit, but I'd love to hear from you about some of these ideas of building authority and trust.
Well, John, I think you've done a fantastic job. You kind of summed it all up right in the beginning. Well done. That's awesome. So, yeah, what they trying to do is they're trying to establish what's your authority, and how are you trusted on the internet with this information. And they've actually got a term for that. It's EEAT, which stands for experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And so you've got to meet those criterias. And then they say, okay, well, you're actually a trusted source for this material, for this subject matter. And then you start slowly ranking up the page, up the search page. And I mean, a good thing is whatever worked for Google is working for Gemini and ChatGPT. And I'm only going to talk about those two LLMs because uh, they account for the bulk of the LLM traffic. Obviously, ChatGPT being the bigger one, but Gemini, I mean, is really catching up quickly. So they just want to see, okay, well, what experience have you got in this subject matter? What expertise have you got? And now you've got to show them this thing. So when you write an article, well, first of all, we should start with your about page, right? So you've got to show, okay, who are the people that work for this organization? What is their expertise? What are they, what are they good at? Where are they on the internet? So we should ideally be linking to their LinkedIn profile, and their LinkedIn profile should be optimized for the expertise that they want to demonstrate.
And Bruno, you know that we struggled with this idea. This was one that a couple of years ago, if you'd asked me, I would have thought, oh, you don't want to put your employees up onto your website because they could get poached because your competitors could go find them. And you very eloquently said, look, they can find your employees anyways. You just go to LinkedIn and you can scrape them very easily.
Yeah.
So you might as well get credit for it. Put them up onto your about page so it doesn't just look like some solopreneur, with no employees. You might as well get credit for it.
Absolutely. I mean, you struggled with that for a while, and I think I actually scraped like a results page of
You
all your
did. Yeah.
employees.
Yeah.
I don't think I missed one. I even got past employees, uh, and that was simple to do. What I did is used Google Gemini, and I did some deep research on your organization.
Mm,
I mean,
wow.
it wasn't. I didn't do
Wow.
anything special. I didn't have any
No
special
special
tools.
software or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you have that fear, let me tell you, your employees are out there showing their expertise because, they might be thinking about their career path and how do they evolve. So they want to show, okay, well, I'm an expert in this subject matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And especially white collar workers focus a lot on that. People that work out in the field, they don't care about their LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
Typically, blue collar workers don't really worry about that kind of stuff.
So
Yeah. So
I could show as an example our about page,
yeah,
which we eventually evolved, and some of the pieces on there. If you want to do you want to walk us through some of those pieces? And you feel free to criticize what we're missing too.
sure.
That's pulling up here. But keep going.
Yeah, so your LinkedIn profiles for your staff are important. All businesses, regardless of what you do, should have a Google Business profile. They used to call it Google Business. No, they used to call it GMB, Google Business
Google My
Manager.
Business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or Google My Business. Yeah. So you should have a profile, and you should be canvassing for reviews.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's another way that you establish your authority is just having those constant reviews. And Google trusts reviews that are external to your website more than they trust the reviews that you've canvassed and put on your website. Because a lot
Ah,
of
so that's a great point because we have like these testimonials here on our website. But what you're saying is if you can get your clients to post that on whatever, like a directory website or a review website, it could be Yelp, it could be
yeah,
Google, about your business, that is more valuable.
that is more valuable. So, I mean, SEO works in different stages for different organizations, and it depends on the life of that organization. If you're a startup, you got to build that authority off your website.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So LinkedIn, Reddit, Google, My Business, um, all those platforms. And you should be writing some sort of article to be featured in a publication. If you're a local business, or an industry specific businesses, there are industry specific publications.
Mm-hmm.
And a link from that publication to your website is of far greater value than spinning out loads of content.
Mm. Mm.
Okay, that's for early stage. Then you get people that are kind of in the middle. They should be investing a lot more time and effort in SEO because they're starting to gain traction in authority off their website. And then you have late stage companies. These are well-established companies. They're well known in their industries, and those guys should be investing heavily in SEO. Now, the benefit here is when you invest in SEO, it works for AEO or GEO, whichever term you want to use, which is what the search engines are. Sorry, the LLMs are using. Um, so yeah, you've got that external authority pointing to your website. And once you've got that kind of momentum, then you start building out more pages on your website.
Yeah, and I've come to realize that so many websites don't have enough services pages. You know that, I mean, we were guilty of that for a long time. We had like one page that talked about the service we provided. And so can you talk a little bit about that, structuring the website to explain different services you provide? Like how many, is there a number of services pages that's ideal?
No, there's no specific number. So, I mean, the first thing that's important is your page should be structured well. So you should have some sort of schema markup. That's like technical SEO, and that just helps the bots um, crawl your page more efficiently. You must
And
realize,
that sounds really intimidating, but there are like plugins like Yoast and Rank Math that you can put into your website that can
absolutely.
assess these pages for you.
They can assess those pages, and then they give you a little report at the bottom and says, okay, well, fix this, fix that. So you need to have that kind of structure in place. Then once you've had that structure, you should have, in terms of service page, you should have one page that lists all your services and gives like a intro paragraph into those services. And then you should have ideally one page per service. And now you're linking from the index page of the services through to the individual services pages. Okay, that internal linking is very important. Also, when you write an article, you should somewhere in that page feature the service that you're talking about and link it to the service page. So those internal links are moving around quite a bit now. Those internal links on your website become quite critical as well. That makes
Sorry,
sense?
I was muted there. Sorry. I was going to pull up a couple other. We got Ethan King's on here, and Robert's on here. I was going to use them as guinea pigs here to maybe kind of show. You could walk us through a couple of things here. If anyone else wants to volunteer their website, they're welcome to, or else I will just absolutely volunteer Ethan and Robert. So like here's Ethan's website. Ethan's a great guy. I've had him on my podcast. He's been doing more and more speaking in the AI space. So he's got a speaking section here. He's got an AI workshop. He's got keynote topics, vision movie workshop, EO workshops. Then he's got a program section here. He's got a books section also. He's got a number of different books. And let's grab his about page. Here's his about page. And there's his about page here. Now he has a number of different things that he's involved in. It seems to me like it's kind of coalesced around AI, but he also owns a clothing company as well. Any feedback on Ethan's pages here in terms of the EAT structure?
So I mean, it looked good. The about page looked good. I'm not sure what framework Ethan used, but whatever you're setting up, you should be setting up for a human to read. It's all very well to get indexed and to rank, and then people arrive on the page and then bounce off within a couple of seconds because the page didn't speak to or didn't answer their question right away.
Mm-hmm.
So what you want to do is follow specific frameworks. So for like the about page, there's a guy called Donald Miller, and he wrote the Story Brand Guide.
Mm-hmm.
And for about pages, I like to structure it like Donald Miller sets it up in his book. It's a bit of a long read, but he gives you like the hero's journey. And just remember, you're never the hero. Your client's the hero. You're the guide. Just remember that if you ever read that book. So you want to structure it like that. You want to have an enticing. This is a great landing page because you've got a clear message up front. You've got immediate call to actions down at the bottom. I would try limit to one call to action. Two is too much.
It looks like he
Um,
has three here. So he has clarify your
uh,
message, free soundbite examples, get the on-demand course, attend the live workshop, schedule a team
yeah,
workshop.
I saw that when you scroll down. That's too many call to actions. You want
Mm,
to have one clear call to action, one clear next step.
mm.
Um,
Clarify your message. So I wonder if this is clarify your message. It looks like he's trying to get people into some kind of product, whether it's a live workshop or a on-demand course or a
yeah,
private workshop.
yeah.
Yeah.
The top of the page was really great. So that would be like your three-step offer. And that's quite handy to have down at the bottom of the page. But at the top of the page, it's cluttered with call to actions. And I'm sorry to be so blunt about it, but you've got top right-hand corner, you've got two in the middle.
Got pop up here.
Okay, you got the pop-up.
Yeah.
It's always good to have a pop-up. There's a few things that you want to own. You want to own your website because that's not rented space, it's yours. You're just paying for hosting. And then the other thing you want to own is some sort of mailing list where you've got people's email addresses and SMSs. And
Hmm.
the idea behind that mailing list is when you post something, the easiest way to get traction on it is to show the search engines that you have interest in those pages. So send out a newsletter
Mm, hmm.
and
Hmm.
encourage people to go visit that page.
Mm,
Try being enticing. Don't just say, here's my latest blog and here's the link because nobody's going to click on that.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
So so that's interesting here. So here's also Robert's here, and he has a very different kind of business. So Sky High Party Rentals is his business,
mhm.
more of a consumer business. They rent different party rentals, and I know he's put a lot of effort into SEO. Any thoughts or feedback on this one?
um, wow, it's a busy page. But obviously you're displaying the different types of inflatables there.
Yeah, 1,000 5-star Google reviews. That's incredible.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is a good hook. Um, yeah, if we could go back to the top, just remember, people look. So if you load like Microsoft Clarity and you do an analysis of like where is this traffic, where's it hot, you'll find that the top of the page is always hot, the middle of the page is always lukewarm, and the bottom of the page is always cold.
Hmm.
And then if you
Okay.
look at your traffic analytics, that you'll see that a lot of people spend time on the top of the page. Some people spend time in the middle, and very few people make it to the bottom of the page.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, a tool like that would really help optimize this website to just see where people are clicking. That is more of a CRO kind of skill
Yeah.
set, SEO. But I mean, in terms of this website, I mean, it's a kid's, so you want to be fun and playful. I mean,
Yeah.
it does that. It's
Yeah.
got, yeah, again, it's got, yeah, it's got check the availability.
Hmm. Is
Um,
there so in terms of EEAT, um, so we got this indicator, 1,000 plus 5-star ratings. He's got, fully insured. I guess these things are kind of reassuring questions that people might have in their mind that the
yeah,
product's
that's
going to be clean, that that's on time. I don't know if that gets to EEAT, but
no, that doesn't really play an influence in EAT. The big thing that's working in favor of this website is 1,000 plus reviews, and he's pulling the Google plugin so that he's got all those reviews coming up on his website.
mm,
So that is where the EAT is coming in on this website. If we go to the About page, um,
let's see where it
does
is.
it have a clear About page?
um,
It's
I'm not
hidden.
sure. Yeah, let me look at the bottom. Help. How did we do? Help, contact. Not sure that they do.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
would add an About page as like, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it doesn't really matter because they've got so many reviews.
Right.
Um, so I'm sure,
I guess that's what matters the most.
yeah. And then they're off-page reviews, which would
Oh,
let,
here's Robert. Oh, here's about us. This might be their only
yeah.
about area.
Yeah, I would put this on a separate page.
Mm,
Um, yeah,
yeah, and you're
that's
right.
the only thing
Yeah.
right at the bottom. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, you want to go back to back to this page, feel free to rip it apart. So, um, on this page. Oh, one thing I want to ask you about is I think this was your idea was linking to, well, in this case, we actually link it over to a different page that then has information about me.
hmm
And there's a separate page for my co-founder, for my business partner. Um, and so this page has kind of like different subsections about our background, has links to different books that I've been featured in, links to places that I've written. Um, that's kind of the idea behind this. I know
yeah,
that also you are an advocate of like linking on with your name to your LinkedIn page. Can you talk
yeah,
about that a little bit?
yeah. So it's all about establishing off-site authority, and so that goes to speak to that off-site authority is like, okay, where are you featured, who you're engaging with, who you connected to. So but you've got a lot more here because you've written for other publications. And so this is an amazing profile where you've established your authority off-site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So for people that are starting off or people that have little traction and haven't written all these things and been featured on other websites, a simple way to do it is to get involved with your local um, chamber of business
Mm.
and list with them. They typically have a member list, and you start kind of building up that repertoire. Yeah.
What do
So
you think about, going and like setting up profiles on different pages, like about.me comes to mind. That's an easy place where you can set up a profile for yourself and then linking back to your website.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what content you're going to load on there,
Hmm.
and how people are going to engage with it. I would be a better advocate for having a subreddit or a Substack where you're releasing content within a community
Mm.
and people are engaging with that content rather, and you can do this on LinkedIn as well. You can publish articles on LinkedIn and get your network to engage with that.
Mm.
Um, so I'd be an advocate for that. I don't know a lot about the about me, um, and what sort of content you post on there. Um,
I think my impression is it's just a place where you put up your bio and some of your other links, and some people use it as kind of like a landing page on the web, and then they link out to other parts. But I don't know if it does much more than that. Maybe you can publish content. I'm not sure. There's like Medium. You could write for Medium or a place like that. Or back in the day, it used to be Huffington Post.
yeah, I mean, there's also services out there like the Hoof and others that would take your written content and publish it all across the web.
Hmm.
What you need to be looking at is how unique is that content?
Hmm.
Because if it's not unique and it's just an AI generated piece of content, then what value does it bring?
Hmm.
So one thing that you got to bring to the table is like a perspective on a subject matter that's nobody else has.
Hmm. Hmm.
Makes you
Um,
unique.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about. So we started using this. Excuse me. Like bio page, a bio block at the bottom of blog posts that we write. Let's see. Hopefully, it's at the bottom of this one. Um, yes, there we go. So about the author, it has a link to my LinkedIn page here, has the bio, has a link to my podcast, those books that I mentioned and places that I've written for. What are your thoughts on this?
This is awesome. You should absolutely do this kind of thing because and especially if you're adding a unique twist or perspective on subject matter or you have some statistical data that nobody else has. Then and you just say, okay, well, this is my data, this is what I think about the subject matter, and this is who I am is absolutely crucial. Just saying published by let's Rise 25 does absolutely nothing to establish your authority on the subject matter. So
Yeah.
what you've done here is 100% correct. And
And one other thing, now I know that the LLMs are favoring newer content. We don't actually have the date published on here on our blog post by default because we didn't want it to look out of date. I've heard other people say that it's better to indicate when you update it, and you should try and update it within 90 days. So that sounds pretty unwieldy. If
mm,
you are publishing blog posts regularly, like going back and updating them every 90 days could be a full-time job. Any
yeah.
particular thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, so having a date doesn't matter because your metadata will tell the LLM or the search engine when it was published.
Hmm.
Okay, so having it on the front of the page doesn't matter.
Okay.
Also, when you republish, the date gets updated, especially if you made changes. It automatically updates the time date stamp. Um, so that is and I would in terms of that 90-day argument, I wouldn't update all my pages every 90 days. If you look at your Google Analytics, see which pages are getting traction. Also, see what pages are being indexed by Google, and rather update those pages where you're getting traction rather than updating your entire website. Because if you've got 300, 400 articles on your website to update that, I mean, that's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Either update the pages that are being indexed and the pages that are getting traction.
Okay. All right. Um,
Every 90 days is like, I don't know, do you have a new take on it every 90 days? Because if you don't
Probably
have a
not.
new
Yeah.
take on it,
Yeah. Right.
then I wouldn't, like, why are you updating it?
Right, right.
Just,
And
just,
and then
just
so another question is I've even seen some people that say this was drafted by me, so and so, Joe Smith or whatever, with help from Gemini. And I think the theory there is that they want to be, I guess, honest and transparent with the AIs that when an LLM was used for generating the content. But I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are on that. I know that I have also read that Google, at least, says that there's no penalty for AI generated content as long as it's valuable. The most important metric is it valuable or not?
yeah. So look, they all expect that a lot of the content's going to be done by AI. Even the stuff that I write gets revised by Grammarly, which is
Mm-hmm.
just another AI
Mm-hmm.
that tidies up my spelling, tidies up my grammar. So they expect that these things are going to happen and that you're going to use LLMs to be more productive. So you don't need to state that. They already know, it's obvious. What you need to make sure is that the content is valuable and has either factual information that is not available elsewhere on the web or has a unique perspective on it, a unique take. That is of more value to the LLMs. Like if you bring your world experience into your writing, that is of far more value to an LLM than to know that you used Gemini or ChatGPT to help you write the article. There is one um, thing I would do differently on the top here. You're writing for humans. Sometimes people land on a page and they want a really quick answer.
Oh, like a TLDR, which we actually don't have here, but on other blog, like, is that what you mean? Like an executive summary or a
Yeah, like
TLDR?
a really quick take on what's being presented.
Hmm.
Recently, I've taken to doing sort of like infographic type um, content for the top of our pages. And
Uh-huh.
I just, what I do is I say to Gemini, I mean, it's really not a big thing. I mean, I just go to Gemini and I say, please create an infographic for me on this. And I tell it to output to Canvas so that it doesn't create an image. Um, so this is terrible because, I'm preaching here, but I'm like the plumber whose plumbing doesn't work.
Well, that's the case with
Uh,
everyone. That's the case with everyone.
so go
So
to
I think I did see that last time I was on
yeah.
your
So if
website.
you go
You
to Trace Times,
okay, Trace Times there. Okay.
yeah, that's where we put our blog. And just click on just click on that. And you'll
Yeah,
see
okay,
put
cool.
like a
Okay.
little infographic. It's a quick take of what's in this article. And if somebody wants to dive deeper,
Then you
then
have the article down here.
they've got the whole article.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of put that at the top of the article.
I just put that at the top of the article.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this article is quite intense. It's got quite a bit of data in the table there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Um,
cool advice. So do you write the article first and then go to Gemini and say create an infographic based on this article?
Absolutely. So that's what we do. I've also fed it some of like our graphic guidelines from our brand book so that it looks like it belongs on our website.
Oh,
And
okay.
not
So they're
something,
consistent.
yeah, that's not
Yeah.
something that doesn't belong.
Mm, mm. Um, and then I want to ask you about this. You said as long as the articles are unique. And like if you take that to its extreme, you could say, okay, well, I want to write about brand awareness campaigns, but I want to give my unique spin on it. I'm a Trek fan, so I'm a Trekkie. So I'm going to talk about like 6 brilliant brand awareness campaigns from Star Trek. Like that would be unique, but the question would it be valuable?
Yeah. So obviously you're going to make it valuable to your audience.
Yeah.
And like I get asked this all the time, like where do we find value in our business? And so like the easiest way to do it is speak to the salespeople because they get asked regularly
What's
about
different?
certain topics.
Yeah.
So sales, service or support centers, what questions keep coming up about that topic? Those are like things that you should be addressing on your website, either as a resource with Gemini now, you can create like a little calculator to calculate whatever needs to be calculated. Um, or just create something interesting around those things. Not only will it rank because it's specific to your business, your product, and what clients are asking about that, but it also then becomes a resource for your sales team that will then further promote. Remember, like I said, you should have a mailing list to
Yeah.
promote what you've written. Okay, now the salesperson can say, "Hey, this is what we do to address that problem, and here's additional information if you'd like." And so you're generating more traffic, and you like because you're getting more traffic, you rank higher.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I'm a big advocate of email marketing, building an email list. I think so many service companies don't do a good job of that. And we could have a whole another presentation on that. But that last piece of what you recommended is when you publish a piece of content, sending an email out to your email list to tell them about that content in a relevant way, not like go check out my latest blog post, but
Mm.
if you're struggling with brand awareness campaigns to transform your marketing, I just wrote an article which might be helpful about 7 brilliant brand awareness campaigns that you could use, something like that, right?
I mean,
And so that last piece is really good advice.
yeah. So for a bakery that we have as a client, what we've done is we tell this beautiful story, and then we feature a product at the bottom of the story.
Mm,
It's like the product, but we also have the product featured throughout the content that we've written.
mm,
And so the one was about pruning roses. And now, obviously, it depends on your audience, right? So if your audience likes pruning roses, you should definitely talk about it. But, we spoke a little bit about pruning roses. And then we said, and this product is fantastic. And it was just a cake. This cake is fantastic to have with tea when you invite your friends over to prune roses.
mm.
And that generated, I mean, in cake, that generated like 100,000 in sales.
That blog post.
It wasn't, yeah. Well, it was a blog post that was then converted into an email newsletter.
Oh,
That
wow.
email newsletter generated
Wow.
100,000 sales.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to post them in the chat here. If not, we can begin to wrap things up. But Bruno, any other thoughts on building authority, trust, EEAT, anything else we haven't covered?
Well, there is one thing that you mentioned early on, long tail. Long tail has become really, I mean, it was a thing back in 2008, the
Yeah.
long tail search query.
Yeah.
It's now because people are entering such specific questions into
It's
ChatGPT
it's
and
like the
Gemini.
long tail is back, baby.
The long
Yeah.
tail's back.
Yeah.
So if you can answer those long questions, um, that's back.
Yeah.
Another thing to consider is that heading down the road, um, these LLMs are going to start making purchases for people. So the idea that ChatGPT has in mind is, okay, Bruno wants to have a new coffee grinder. So I'll say, ChatGPT, I want a new coffee grinder. I don't want to spend more than $100. Um, Order it for me. I want so many star reviews. These are my preferred brands. Order me one.
Mm,
And
mm.
ChatGPT will go and order this coffee grinder for you, and then it will arrive at your doorstep. That's where things are going.
Mm.
And so SEO is becoming more and more important because of that. So now, how do you present yourself to these search engines that are going to make these autonomous decisions?
Yeah, yeah. And you're right. I was just talking with a client about this, like these long tail keyword terms. We got a client that's a painter and I was doing some research on the terms that that were getting surfaced for his business, and they were like very specific, long ones about dry rot with painting and eco-friendly painters in different regionals, different cities. Like we're talking like 9,000 person cities that people were searching on, or finding painters that were available to paint on the weekends. Very specific, like probably some commercial property that couldn't have wanted the painters to paint on the weekends instead of during the week when the workers are there. So, like having an article written on those makes you more likely that you're going to get surfaced when someone puts in those really long tail term searches.
So if you're like a small business in Steamboat Springs, for example, write specific about what's happening in your community. So let's say you're an architectural services company or a consultant, and you want to say, okay, well, these are the trends that are happening in Steamboat Springs, and these are the colors that we've done in the last 20 projects. So that's like a really long tail search. But you're going to surface to the top because everybody in your community wants to know what are those trends happening locally in my town. They might not worry about what's happening in Chicago.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to be very specific about it. So even more important to focus your SEO on that. Well, this has been great, Bruno. Thank you so much for coming here today and sharing these ideas. Let me share for everyone your contact info so that they can reach out to you. And in the meantime, so Bruno at tracebrandbuilding.com. Tracebrandbuilding.com is the website. Anywhere else people should go to connect with you or learn more about you?
I'm available on LinkedIn, but I mean, if you just drop me an email,
best place.
That's awesome.
Great. Okay, Bruno, thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Okay, have a good one. Thanks, everyone. Okay. Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Business Revolution podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.